Rumba d'amour, the rumba of love, a dance of love. Who would think to include a dance of love in this solemn gathering? And yet, today is a celebration of liberation, as well as a commemoration of loss and extermination. The dance was composed by my great-grandfather, Heinz Lewin, born in Wiesbaden in 1888. He's seen here on the right with his parents, Moses and Chaya, and his older sister, Sophie. There are records of Jews active in business around Wiesbaden's thermal springs from the 14th and 15th centuries. In the 1920s, Martin Buber and Franz Rosenzweig explored their Jewish spirituality there. My great-grandfather lived in a flat on the prestigious Luisenplatz, close to the memorial for the soldiers who had defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. Moses and Chaya had hoped that Heinz would take over the family cigarette business that they had established in 1891. It was a successful enterprise at the forefront of glamour and artistic advertising. It was one of the first companies to attract customers using football cards. But Heinz's interest was not in commerce. It was in music, where from a young age he displayed remarkable talent, composing hit songs, operettas, and dance music. The first public performance of his work was in Wiesbaden in 1904, aged just 16. At 18, he presented a 3-act operetta. His output was diverse, prolific, and well-received. He wrote the soundtrack to silent movies. His compositions were included in the early talkies in Germany, France, and even in the 1930s Hollywood remakes of European films. Opa, my grandfather, remembering his childhood, told of his father Heinz as a colourful character who composed at the piano with a parrot perched on his shoulder. From 1925 to 1936, success took him to Berlin. As life for Jews became harder, he began composing under a pen name, Henri Letten. He moved to France, and with the declaration of war in September 1939, he was interned as an enemy alien. Heinz was sent to a labor camp in Septfonds. The words of the prisoners' march underscore the strain of their work, and yet a spirit which remains unbroken. Réveil, reveille, refrain in sunshine and rain. We march with songs on our lips, with pickaxe and shovels. We work in the forests, in fields and meadows. All happiness forgotten. Hard at work, the day is long. Tirelessly we toil, but always with good humour, marching through villages and sleepy landscapes, singing this same tune. Marche. was the march of group number 2. The commander of the Jewish prisoners was a Captain Prévost. He was a meticulous man, recording the camp's day-to-day activities in his diary. Acknowledging that his prisoners included intellectuals and talented artists, he encouraged them. This cartoon of the camp was drawn by prisoner artist Johann Rumpler. It shows Heinz conducting the camp orchestra and choir. Captain Prévost collected the art of his inmates. These include several caricatures. Prévost's archive was recently purchased from his family by local historian and counsellor Jean-Marc Lebarta. He puts together an exhibition of the camp with a reconstruction of Prévost's office, with his trademark glasses and pipe at his desk. And here Jean-Marc is showing my mother Prévost's treasures, original camp art from Septfonds. These beautiful watercolors cover musical scores of compositions written in the camp by Heinz Lewin, Henri Letton. When we turn the page, behind the illustrations, we discover his original compositions. We encounter dances and songs written by the grandfather my mother never knew. The Rumba d'amour was written in Septfonds, as was the march we just heard. This was music written and performed in the darkness of captivity by those who yet dreamed of liberation. In June 1942, Prévost arranged a fundraising gala concert to support the camp and the neighborhood. It was under the musical direction of my great-grandfather. And here you see Heinz at the piano, a cartoon from 1941 and a photograph from 1942. The musical ensemble of the Septfonds camp preparing for their gala concert. Souviens-Toi, remember, my darling, our kisses so tender, chérie. Your hand in mine, nostalgia fades away, light triumphant rises. My torments suddenly calm down at the day's end. Hopes and confidences fill my healing heart. Hopes and memories from the song Souviens-Toi, remember, my darling, which played at the gala. We read in his diaries that Prévost made a special note to thank Heinz for his work. Souviens-Toi. But in August, the order came through that the Septfonds camp was to be emptied of its Jewish inmates. Prévost kept back his concert dues for 2 extra days for one last performance. And on the night of September 3rd, 1942, my great-grandfather was one of 211 listed on the train from Septfonds to Drancy. And on September the 9th, he was listed of one of 1,000 on Convoy 30 to Auschwitz. And there Heinz perished. Yet today, 80 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, and almost 83 years since Heinz composed his final works, his music has premiered in London. The Rumba d'Amour, the Marche and Souviens-Toi have just been performed for the very first time to an audience of free men and women, to our precious survivors. Heinz lives on today with you, our survivors, and Heinz Lewin lives on today here in this room in front of his granddaughter, his great-grandson and great-great-grandchildren, a great-grandson and great-granddaughter in Australia, a great-granddaughter in Israel, and even great-great-great-grandchildren who will never let him be lost or forgotten. Truly a celebration of liberation from generation to generation. His creativity and dreams were extinguished by the Nazis, but here today they find new life, and Heinz Lewin finds new life before a new audience, beyond anything, beyond family, he might ever have imagined. May his memory be an inspiration and a blessing.